Welcome back to the Elle Sera podcast. Today I'm joined by Andrea from Metal Monkey Yoga. We discussed many different things, but three things that really stood out to me today were why we're all sitting incorrectly. Apparently I should be doing this on the floor, and I completely believe her. We're all breathing incorrectly too. So from today on, I'm going to be starting to inhale from my stomach and not my chest. And also why we need to be incorporating mobility into our everyday routines. It's a great chat. Listen up. So today I've got Andrea with me. Hi, Andrea.
Hello.
So your business is Metal Monkey Yoga.
It is, yes.
Where did the name come from?
Where did the name come from? Okay, so my heritage is Chinese, and I am a metal monkey in the Chinese horoscopes.
Right.
Okay, so a metal monkey, the characteristics of a monkey are very strong and dynamic. So it's all about unleashing your inner monkey. And that's the kind of yoga that I teach.
Love that. Okay. Talk to me about some of the yoga that you teach then. Like, are we going around like swinging from trees or where?
No, it's been a little bit of a journey to where I've got to here. So I've been teaching yoga for the past 15 years now. And I got into yoga through hot yoga. So that's not what I teach now, but that was kind of the what sort of pulled me in.
Okay.
So it was more of the fitness. It was more of that kind of like when you do a Bikram class. I don't know if you've ever done Bikram before.
Yeah, I've done, not Bikram. I've done a hot yoga, but I didn't do the 90 minutes, which I believe is Bikram.
Okay, so I went to the first studio that opened in Manchester, and it was a 2-hour class, and it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done.
That sounds
It was horrific.
relentless.
But I literally came out of the class and thought that was like unbelievable. I felt incredible. And it's because of the heat and the postures. Fast forward 2 years. So I'd done hot yoga repeatedly. And this is like morning, noon and night. I was like obsessed with it.
Really? And would you do
like
90 minutes each session you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
How did you get anything else done?
I didn't. So they literally only the only studio in the Northwest was in Manchester. Okay, so it was like an hour, kind of like an hour to get there, an hour and a half class, and then an hour to get back. So they had an offer on £30 for 10 days, I think it was.
Right.
So I did the 10 days.
Did you travel to and from?
I travelled to Manchester every day. So I left at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd get home at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So it was the whole day. So I did that for 10 days and I was hooked.
Right.
Absolutely hooked. And then not long after this, so we're talking about 12 years ago now, the first hot yoga centre opened in Liverpool. And then, so obviously that was a lot easier to get to. And basically, the guy who owned the studio here, he said, I think you should become a teacher. I was like, no way, I'm a hairdresser. And he recommended a course to go on. The course was in Thailand. It was in this beautiful hotel. And I thought, God, that looks great. So I thought it's a month in Thailand in this luxurious hotel. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So I went, and with no intentions to teach at all. So we're talking, I was 32 at the time, and I went for a month. The course was incredible. But on that course, the only thing with hot yoga is if you practice as much as what I did, and I'm talking like 2-3 hours, sometimes 4 hours a day, you kind of reach a ceiling with that. And there's nowhere else you can go. So whilst I was on the training course, there was a guy who taught at the hotel who looked like Jesus. He was quite handsome.
Right, nice.
Which always helps, doesn't it? He was teaching traditional hatha yoga. So I was kind of sneaking off the course to go and do classes with this guy. And this is like traditional hatha yoga. And I'd never experienced anything like this before. So I'd practiced hot yoga for like 2 years now. I'd got that kind of high feeling, a euphoric feeling that you get from hot yoga. But I'd kind of reached a level with it. So I feel like I'm rambling.
No, carry on.
Make sure you block this out.
Don't
Anyway, so I used to sneak off the course and do the classes with this guy. And this was like twisting, folding, turning yourself like 360 degrees, tying your legs around your head. Like I'd never experienced anything like this before. And it's all about purifying your heart, your liver, your organs, taking your joints through the full range of motion, something that you don't really do in hot yoga. So as soon as I did classes with him, I was like, oh my God, I need to learn more. So I came straight off a teacher training in Thailand and went straight into another teacher training. And this was more traditional yoga.
Is this in Thailand still?
Yeah. So I came from hot yoga to traditional yoga. And then the guy who did that course said, if you want to learn more, he said, you need to go to the source.
India?
Yeah.
Right.
So I literally came home from Thailand. I was there for 6 months, I think it was. And then I came home for 2 months. And then I went off to India for 6 months.
Wow.
And in that time in India, I completely changed my thoughts on how we live, how we move, how we breathe. So I practiced with a teacher who was the only, at this time, was the only authentic, living teacher alive. So he's passed away now. So he was called Iyengar Yoga. Steve heard of Iyengar. He's wrote countless books and things. So I used to practice in the breath work with him. And what he taught me is that we have everything inside of ourselves. So, how we've kind of come so detached from how we are supposed to live. Okay. So, stereotypically in your 20s and 30s, you would be at your prime of your life. But really, when we get to our 40s and our 50s, we should be feeling absolutely amazing. So you actually said something at our event in September. You said, when you're 80, you kind of want to be the most fabulous person that you can be. And I just love that because we kind of have it all in us and we can be that person.
I mean, every time I do a rep in the gym, I visualize myself as an 80-year-old woman. I'm not even joking. There's a couple of things that I think about, right, to get through the set. And I'm honestly in excruciating pain. It's the heaviest I can be doing. And there's a couple of trigger points for me that will make me kick it up a gear. Yeah. Number one is if something's going wrong in work, we've had our ad account banned. And I think you'll get your ad account back if you can get through this set. That's what I think about. You ad account, and I do it and I nail it. And then the other one is a Facebook pixel because that's not working, and that's obviously doing my daily work. So anything that really means a lot to me in driving forward, I think about that. And then the other thing that will really trigger me is, well, Grace, if she's poorly, I think she'll get better if you can do this set. And then the other one is you at 80. So then I'll visualise myself as an 80-year-old woman and be thinking, when I'm sat there at 80, I'm going to remember I did this at 38.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful. And if you can do that. There
is a test that I do with everyone, okay? It's called the sit and the rise test. So this is the singular most way that shows if you can move dynamically and be able to move through space with ease and agility. And that's what we all want at the end of the day. So it's like your retirement plan, it's your kind of health insurance, it's all of that all rolled in to one. So
and what is the rise and fall test?
The rise and fall test, okay, so you have to, shall I show you?
Yeah, go on.
So basically,
we're a visual podcast too.
So you get up, you've got to cross your leg over. I'll have to come over here. So you cross your leg over, you're able to sit all the way down on the floor and then get all the way up.
Oh, okay, so did you get that, Calvin?
It's the sit and rise test. So what this test...
I'm going to try it.
What this test represents, it represents your mobility, okay?
Okay, I'm going to try this because I need to know.
Okay, so this is a bit of a buzzword at the moment, mobility. So it's all over Instagram.
So that there.
Leg over, and then see if you can sit all the way down without holding on to something. Okay. And then get all the way up.
Without holding up?
Without holding up if you can. Excellent. Most people can't do this test, by the way, so don't feel bad if you can't do it.
I've got a bit of work to do.
So what this test represents is your mobility. So what that means is mobility. This is a kind of word that you're hearing all the time at the moment. So it's all over Instagram. Teachers are talking, all the yoga teachers are talking about it. PTs are talking about it. So it's a buzzword. And what mobility is, it's being able to move with ease through space. So it's a real beautiful thing because it's a harmonious convergence that all of the elements are all moving how they are supposed to. So if you think everything is in sync, you've got your joints, your fascia, your muscles, your ligaments, everything works how it's supposed to. And then this has a huge effect on all of the systems in the body. So you've got your circularity system, you've got your digestive system, you've got your lymphatic system, and this all helps to improve your immune system. So it all helps your body systems.
Yeah. Okay. So if we haven't got the best mobility, if somebody did the rise and fall test and then moved it like they couldn't even get up off the floor, they couldn't get down and they couldn't get up, where would you begin?
What can you do? Okay, so simple movements. So I've been a yoga teacher for so long, teaching people to put their legs behind their heads and to do headstands and things like that, which is all great, but it's not going to help you with your mobility. So if you do a class, once a week and you think, I'm doing a yoga class, it's not enough.
Yeah.
So it's not enough. So simple movements, and I'm talking like joint rotations, hip rotations, sitting in a squat as much as you can. That is the best thing that you can do for your hips, your spine, your pelvis, for the health of your joints.
I completely agree with you. And I'll just tell you why I came to this conclusion. And I also said to my partner, Danny, I said, I think we should get rid of all our toilets and we should just have a hole in the ground. I went to China to do the Great Wall of China. That is one of the most forward-thinking countries I've ever been to in terms of tech, in terms of they have got it all on lockdown. There was a robot that checked me into my hotel room.
Yeah.
So the fact that they still don't use a toilet and they use a hole in the ground, they know a little bit about these things.
So,
and all of them at 80, I went to the park on a Sunday morning. They're all there doing Tai Chi. They're all doing calisthenics.
Yeah.
They're about 80 years old and they are moving. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I thought,
so it's
just
simple
incredible
movements, how you live. And
they're squatting down every day to go to the toilet.
So in this kind of age that we live in now, you think of how you spend your day. So you get up, you will sit in a chair, and then you'll eat your breakfast. And then you'll get up and you'll get in a car and you're sat in this very unhealthy position all day long. You'll sit in a chair, then you'll get on the train or you'll get in your car, and then you'll spend your evening watching Netflix at night. So you're spending the majority of your day. And then what you think is, right, okay, I'll get up and I'll go to the gym. And we're kind of in an age at the moment that everyone's doing CrossFit, high rocks, this real hardcore exercise. So you've just kind of spent the majority of your day sat in a chair, and then you get up and you kill yourselves in the gym. Okay? And that's where you get all these injuries.
Well, the problem is people go to the gym to lose weight.
That's it.
And actually, that's not where the weight loss is going to come from. Go to the gym to get strong. Weight loss is actually going to come from your diet.
Exactly.
But I just want to get strong. That's why I go to the gym. And because I've got such limited time, yes, I know what I should be doing. I know I should be doing mobility. I should be doing hip, knee mobility, all that. Should be going to yoga class. It's probably some cardio class as well in there. But because I've only got 3 hours a week to do something.
Time is important.
I pick the one thing I can get stronger, which is weightlifting.
That's why it's how you spend your day. So it's how you do your work. So you should try to if you think of how we are designed to spend large amounts of time actually on the floor. So if you think of the ancestors hundreds of thousands of years ago, we would sit on the ground. We would use the toilet on the ground. We would spend our nights on the ground. We would have our babies on the ground. This is how we are designed. And now we're spending freakish amounts of time sat in chairs, and it's just no good for the health of our joints.
I feel like we should be sitting on the ground doing this podcast.
We should be sat in a squat.
I know, yeah. Again, when I went to Bali, most of the locals would sit in that like ass to grass position, you know, just texting on their phone and stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That was like a comfortable position
So also, if you have a look at all the statistics that are out now, so in the East, they don't have any hip replacement or joint replacements. In the Western parts of the world, we are having more hip replacements than ever before, which is like, we shouldn't be having them, you know.
Okay. So that's what we can do for mobility. So do rotations.
Simple movement. So it's how you spend your day. So I always tell all of my students to get up in the morning and to try and have their cup of tea or their coffee or whatever they have in the morning, to try and have it on the ground. So I know it sounds... and your husbands or your partners will probably look at you and thinking, what are you doing? But it's so healthy for your joints. It will help you. So it's all about thinking of the long game.
Okay, so when you say on the ground, what position am I in?
Oh, you could lean your spine against a wall. So
I could like still be sat on my bum.
Sit on the ground with the soles of the feet.
Right, okay.
So your legs are out like this.
Yeah.
Or you could sit in a squat position. You could lean your spine against a wall, so it's a little bit more comfy for you. And then when you do your work, try not to sit in a chair all day. So try and sit on the ground as much as possible.
I don't know how Kelly Bond's going to, when I redesign The Office and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're going to work on the floor right now. Well, she was kicking off at me last week because I haven't bought her a new packing station yet in our new office. And I was like, all right, but now I'm going to go, listen, I spoke to Andrea and she said, listen, we should be packing our boxes on the floor.
So you could kind of have a compromise here. So have you seen the chairs that you can get, the postural chairs?
Yeah, but
where you kneel on them and things like that.
Yeah, I thought they were just like...
No, they're not. They're good. So my husband has...
Gimmicky.
No, they're not gimmicky. So my husband, obviously, he's a physio. We've got a gymnastic horse that we sit on. So you're kind of using your core at the same time when you sat down, and that's really important.
Wow. Okay, like a gym.
Let me give you an anatomy lesson.
Okay, yeah,
so
go on.
So how we are designed, so you've got your long thigh bone here, okay? And at the end of the thigh bone, you've got a ball that sits snugly inside your pelvis, okay? When we are tiny babies, so you've got a baby, the crawling phase is really important. So the main reason why we don't want the kids to go from being a tiny baby to walking is because we need the femur to put pressure inside the pelvis. And that's what creates the stability inside the whole of the body, okay?
Right.
So that femur pressing on the pelvis is really, really important. So that's why it's really important that a child kind of moves like this, and they've got that in the pelvis. So as we get older, we still need that pressure inside the pelvis. But when we're sat in a chair, so if you can see, the femur just sits inside the pelvis like this, so you haven't got that pressure. So that's why it's really important that we don't spend long amounts of time.
I mean, for me, I know sit big time in my hip flexors. My hip flexors are so tight.
Okay, so when you're in a chair as well, so the hip flexor is a big chunk of muscle, and it just gets shorter and shorter and tighter and tighter. And then what happens is, because we're sort of like this all day, we're hunched over as well, aren't we? We're all on our iPhones and laptops and all of this. What happens is, because you're not using your core, the pelvis isn't being used how it's supposed to, you tend to use the long muscles in the back, and then these tend to pull. So, and this pulls right down here on the IT band, and so then you get pain in your knee, pain in your back. So all these other ailments happen in the body, and it's all because we're sat on chairs.
So
it's the worst invention of the 21st century.
What about, we do a lot of standing up in work. We have standing up desks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
good. So is that good?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I think Kelly would be happy with that. I don't think I get her on the floor, but she definitely loves a standing up desk.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what can I do to loosen off the hip flexors then? Because I would imagine I'm not the only one with tight hip flexors out there.
Okay, so, it's trying to get away from spending long amounts of time stretching and to do all these things that we haven't got time for. So it's just to add a little bit of mobility into your kind of
like
routine.
A warrior one pose almost.
Not even that, just doing some hip rotations, just doing like a bit of a lunge, a pigeon pose, just incorporating these into your daily routine. So I normally tell people, so when you get up in the morning and you make your cup of tea and you're waiting for the kettle to boil, do some arm rotations or some hip rotations. So you're just incorporating these exercises into your routine in the day.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode. I feel like as women, we have to make use of we have to be efficient with our use of time. When the kettle's boiling, that's my time to undo the dishwasher.
Yeah.
No, that's time I've got to do the dishwasher. So that, and a race against the kettle to do it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if anybody else does this, because I've got the baby screaming. Obviously no one else is going to do this. No one else is getting up and making a brew in the morning. No one else is undoing the dishwasher. The dishwasher fairy does it. So that's my time. So I can't even imagine incorporating like
some more rotations
while I'm trying to, I'm like that with my cups.
So it's thinking now. So if you
housekeeper, and I'll be doing my arm rotations. Thanks.
Yeah. So if you think in your 20s and 30s, you did not think about how you would be in your 60s, your 70s, your 80s.
No.
But now, as you're getting closer to 40s, you need to think of the long game.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what you don't want is when you get to your 60s, and I see this all the time. There was actually a guy in the gym the other day. So he is early 40s, fit, super, super fit. He does the CrossFit, he does the high rocks, he does all of those things. He was in the gym the other day and he had this terrible pain in his knee. And he said, oh God, he said, I was on the golf course the other day and he said, this pain was awful. And I said, well, that's because you need to do a bit of mobility work. Yeah. And he went, oh no, I can't be bothered with that. He said, I just won't play golf anymore. So people aren't thinking of when they're 70 and 80 and how they're going to be, and it's really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so apart from yoga, which you're like an absolute master at, you're really into breath work as well.
Okay, so
this is another big passion of yours and something that I know a tiny bit about, but please, I'm here today to be schooled. So
okay, so all of the exercise, you could be doing all of the exercise, all of the strength work in the gym, all of the yoga, all of those exercises. You could be eating really healthily, but if you're not breathing correctly, you will never reach optimum health. And that's just a fact.
A given.
Fact, yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. And I know I can get 20% more power out
100%.
of my rep
100%.
if I actually think about breathing. But I think I need a nose job, to be honest. Because,
No, you don't.
No,
you don't need to know.
I actually do, because like I think I've got like a deviated septum. I can't even get enough
You can fix
air
it.
in.
Right, okay. So when I first got in to yoga, I always remember the teacher saying, when you reach that where you can't inhale anymore, squeeze in a little bit more. And that's how you expand the capacity of your lungs. Right, so here's a little test for you. When we do our breathing exercises, it's so powerful, much more powerful than lifting heavy weights in the gym, much more powerful than any of the stretches that I've talked about. When you practice extreme breath work, you can have an out of body experience. You can have like a LSD experience, right? So breathing for most of us happens all by itself, yeah? Mm-hmm. So it's run by our autonomic nervous system. Imagine you are going to cross the road, okay, and a car swerves into you. Do you inhale or exhale?
Inhale.
Inhale.
Yeah.
Like this, yeah? So this is your fight or flight. So this is a sympathetic nervous system response, okay? The problem is, in the 21st century, most people are breathing in fight or flight mode all day long. So as if they're going to get hit by a car all day long. So they're only using a tiny proportion of their lungs. So if you think how you inhale, you actually don't even think about it. So you literally... Okay, so you've just taken a deep inhale in, but what you've done is you've used your chest.
Yeah.
So all of the breath should come from this midsection here.
It definitely doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I wouldn't even know how to tune in to do that.
So that's because of the world we live in. So we are
Damn the world.
We are all under stress all day long, okay? And I'm not talking about like stress. I'm talking about like adverts, emails, WhatsApp notifications.
Just like
it's
overwhelming.
All day
I get
long.
it. Yesterday I was ready to cry with the amount of overwhelming
it's
messages
just
I had.
Things all day long.
That everyone
noise,
wants money.
Lights, cameras, phone.
Gives me anxiety as well.
So this has a massive effect how we breathe. So what happens is we're not using this section here. So we're only using, and this is when we get to puberty age, we start to use less of the capacity of our lungs. So we're using 20% of our lungs. Now, that has a massive effect on our body. We need to take in massive amounts of oxygen for everything to work how it's all supposed to work in the body. So as we get older, we're using less and less of the lung capacity. So how you fix that, how you change that.
Does your lung capacity reduce as you get older?
It shouldn't do, but
your lungs get
because of the world we live in, it does.
I heard this the other day, your lungs shrink.
They shouldn't do. So when I did the teachings...
Especially females, because I was like, whoa, I need to start working on my VO2 max here. And I actually thought I'm going to contact John Moores University and have it tested.
So how you improve it yourself...
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to go in there and have a terrible VO2 max.
You need to close your eyes, take a big, deep breath in.
Nose.
But, so always in the nose and out of the nose, never in the mouth. So we're not designed to breathe in our mouths. It's always in the nose. But I want you to concentrate. So if you just place your hands on your belly, I want you, as you take a deep breath in, I want you to push your hands out.
Okay.
So use the abdomen. And it's hard because especially if you're a woman, you're always trying to suck your tummy in. So when we inhale and exhale, you want to see the whole of the abdomen move in and out. So So you're still moving your chest and your shoulders. So I want you to really concentrate now and not move your chest and your shoulders. And just see if you can push your hands in and out. So you really have to concentrate. And it takes time. So we need to...
It's hard.
We need to re-educate ourselves how to breathe.
Yeah.
And it takes time. So here's an
I feel
example.
like my heart rate's gone right up there.
So here's an example. When I had my first child, so this is 8 years ago, I'd just come back from spending 6 months in India. So I'd been doing all the breath work. I knew how to breathe. I was taking massive amounts of oxygen. This is the key to everything. So I came home. I was literally 4 weeks off having my baby. And I was sat with my husband in the camping furnace. And he was like, how are you feeling about the birth? And I was like, absolutely fine. I said, I can't wait. And he was like, why? He said, you're not nervous? And I said, no. I said, I'm just gonna breathe really deeply and I'm just gonna push out this baby. And he was like, hang on. So we got his phone out. He said, I'm gonna record you saying this. I was like, fine.
I've said the same. didn't work
and
out
then
like
we
that.
got into the women's and I was 8 centimetres and we got in there and it's something I actually feel passionate about. And I think if I was not a yoga teacher, I would be helping people to give birth. So we got into hospital. I was 8 centimetres and the midwife said, just keep on kind of moving your hips and that will help to get the baby out. When I felt the head there, I just squatted right down and I kind of went into this sort of like primal mode. And it was breathing really deeply and pushed out the baby, but solely by using my breath.
Did you have any drugs?
Need no drugs at all.
Not even a paracetamol?
Nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. And I had my mum there, I had my partner there, I had a midwife there, but no one had to be there. And it was the power of the breath. And that's why I feel so passionate about how we breathe. It's the key to unlock everything. It's how we are designed at the end of the day to be able to do all this.
Yeah.
And how they put you in hospitals and to have babies and they put your kind of legs up and you're kind of lying on your back. It's just not the right way.
No.
It's just not the right way at all.
No. I was on all fours for a while.
Were you?
Yeah.
So that's quite good being on all fours.
Yeah, but I mean, 48 hours I was in labour. And at the end, they were like, give it up. And I was like, really didn't want a C-section for all the reasons that I didn't want a C-section.
You know what you need to do when you... Not that I'm an expert by any kind of ways or means. The movement has to be there. So it all comes back to moving your hips, moving your pelvis. You've got to get that head to travel down the channel and to come into position.
She was just lazy. She wouldn't like come out, and then she was in a different position. So I was like, so I got to 9.5 centimeters by myself.
Oh, so you were there?
Yeah, but they were like,
And what happened then?
So they broke my waters because I was exhausted. This has been 2 days.
So that's what happens. It's exhaustion.
Yeah, they broke my waters. They went, that might work. Didn't. They then gave me an epidural, and they said, we're going to induce you. And we need to give you an epidurals because it's going to be like, the contractions are going to be horrendous if we don't. So I was like, go for it. She still wouldn't come out when they've literally chemically induced me. And then that was it.
Were you lying down?
For that point I was, yeah.
See, it's completely wrong. And it kind of...
Well, I couldn't feel anything below my waist at that point.
I know, but to have you in that position where you're lying down on the bed just completely goes against how we are designed.
No, well, for 2 days, I wasn't lying down. I was on all fours in a birthing pool. But at this stage, I was saying, just get it out of me.
Well, yeah, you do get
I was
to a
like,
point.
whatever. But then they were like, it's time for an emergency C.
So also the birthing pools, I'm not really a big fan because they just slow everything down. And then you become too kind of relaxed to do anything.
Yeah.
You should be moving around, and that's just how you get the baby out. But also, if you go to Spain, they have you heard of a birthing chair?
Yeah, I have actually, yeah.
Which is just brilliant,
Yeah.
I think. So you sit on this chair and it's got like a hole in the middle of it, and that's how you push the baby out.
Yeah.
Which
The
I think is
only
really
time
good.
you'd like to be sat in a chair.
That's the only time. That's the only time you can sit in a chair.
Okay. So breath work is so important to be working on.
Yeah, and it's something we can work on all day long, all day. But it's something that you've got to concentrate. So even though we breathe all day and it just kind of happens on its own, we need to spend a little bit of time because of the world we live in and all of the, I talked before, all of the notifications that we have all the time massively affects how we breathe. So it's something that you need to tune into at certain parts of the day and just concentrate on breathing from here and not from here. And it's something that you kind of really need to pay attention to.
Yeah. I feel like if I was trying to breathe from my stomach all day long, well, it'd be exhausting.
It feels exhausting at first. And when I teach this to people, they're like,
you couldn't imagine.
I feel really lightheaded. But that's what it does. And it's because we're not used to absorbing all of this oxygen. Now, when you use 100% of your lung capacity, you feel incredible. Like there's no other feeling. That's why I've become obsessed with this kind of life that I do. I'm literally up every morning at 4:30 in the morning to do all the breathing exercises because you feel incredible.
What time do you go to bed?
9:30, 10:30.
I couldn't even imagine getting up at 1:30 in the morning.
I lie there. So this morning I was lying there at 3:30. I cannot wait to get up in the morning. I cannot wait. And I'm non-stop.
I wish I could be doing that.
I'm non-stop all day.
I'm the opposite. I don't want to go to bed.
But it's the feeling of oxygen. It is the best feeling. It completely beats like any night out, all the partying that we used to do years ago. It's the best feeling when you flood yourself with oxygen.
Okay. So in terms of like how people would work on this, so trying to breathe from the stomach, is there anything else?
Yeah, just sort of.
What about taping the mouth? I've seen this a lot.
Okay,
especially during physical endurance exercise.
The book at the moment, and it's the James Nestor book, he talks a lot about putting some tape over the mouth to re-educate yourself to breathe through your nose. So this is how we are designed to breathe. We're not designed to breathe out of our mouth. But what happens is when we breathe through our mouth, we don't have the filter system.
What, like in your nose?
In your nose, yeah. So we are designed to breathe in
Okay.
and out of our nose.
So I was listening to James Nestor on Diary of a CEO, and he was saying like, if you can hear your kids breathing when they're asleep,
Oh, I do this.
that's not very good for them.
No. No, I just make sure that my kids are always breathing out of their nose.
Yeah.
And if they're not and they're kind of like this, I just
So you
kind
just
of
shut the mouth.
Yeah.
Grace is like ill at the moment, so her nose is all blocked
So you
up.
can't help
so
that.
can't
If
do
they're
that at the
sick, you
moment.
can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when they get older,
She sounds like
you can
Darth Vader next to me.
you can definitely try to put a little bit of tape. I know my husband said that he wouldn't allow me to put tape across the kids' mouths.
I know, it might be a bit extreme.
It's a bit extreme. But I think it's something that you can try.
Yeah.
I am an extremist though.
Well, same here. Poor Grace. She's gonna have all these things. But yeah, okay. So what about the one thing we get a lot on our page? We get obviously a lot of menopausal women talking. But when you hit menopause, you seem to like sleeping gets worse, and also like breathing during sleeping gets worse. I don't know if I actually don't know the reason, but we get a lot of ladies saying they suffer with a lot of snoring and things like that. Again, that must be all linked to their breathing, their lung capacity, maybe their nose, maybe their mouth, and obviously their mouths should be shut, so they shouldn't really be snoring.
Yeah, so we live in a world where we are only using, I said this before, we are only using 20% of our lung capacity, which has a massive effect on our bodies. So as we get older, this just has such a detrimental effect in all areas of our life. So it will affect how we feel, how we sleep. It will affect our mood. It will affect everything. It really is the key to unlock a healthy body.
Okay. So breathing, and mobility, yoga.
And
I suppose, to be honest,
But I'm
all
not
three of
asking
those come into yoga, because can't do
do.
yoga without breath. So these yogis must have known something.
But what you mentioned before is time is a big issue, and not everyone has hours and hours a day to sort of spend on yoga postures, and you do have to invest a lot of time to get all the benefits out. But you don't have to invest a lot of time to do a little bit of mobility work to incorporate into your day, and you'll get the same health benefits as what you would get if you went and did a yoga class.
Okay.
But you'd have to do a yoga class every day to get all of the benefits.
I feel
and
like
we just haven't got the time.
Yeah, I feel like you could just get like a video on YouTube and like do watch a bit of mobility and do it along with it in the living room.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I've got an online program that I do, and it's literally simple exercises that everyone can do. So because all of the hardcore postures are not for everyone, not everyone wants to get their legs behind their head.
No.
But a little bit of mobility work will really help everyone.
Okay. So if they wanted to get in touch with you about your program, your online program, how do they do that?
Metal Monkey Yoga. So there's a website, metalmonkeyyoga.com, and I am on Instagram, Metal Monkey Yoga.
Perfect. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for coming to chat to us today,
You're
Andrea.
welcome.
I've enjoyed that. I'm definitely going to go and breathe a bit better. I'm going to practice
So all from
breathing
here,
from my stomach.
all from here, and not from your chest.
I feel like
just
it's going to be very difficult.
And just try to sit on the floor as much as you can.
Okay, got a lot to remember, a lot to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.